The fields glowed gold in the late afternoon. The wind stirred the stalks of rice, and the sound of birds drifted above me. Children's laughter carried faintly from the village, but I kept my distance. I preferred the quiet. I am Ricky, and I see the world a little differently. I notice patterns others don't, shapes in the earth, rhythms in sound. Sometimes I feel the quiet looking back at me. I lined up pebbles in neat rows, humming softly to myself. That's when I saw it, movement, deep at the edge of the jungle. It was nothing the others noticed, but I couldn't look away. The path into the thickening trees led me to a hidden house. Old, broken, and breathing in its own way. Bottles hung from branches and rafters, bones strung like charms, and shadows seemed to shift even without the wind. Inside, a man sat. At first, Irwin was gruff and mean, his eyes sharp, his words clipped. I didn't notice his frown so much. I was too busy noticing the odd bottles, strange bones, and shifting shadows. I asked him questions about the shadows and the glass jars, about the shapes of bones, and he answered. Slowly, he softened. The man who had seemed so distant began to show kindness, sensitivity, even a sense of humor I hadn't expected. Over the short time we had together, we built a bond quickly, sharing quiet moments among the strange bottles and flickering candlelight. He taught me small tricks, let me help with curiosities, and even laughed when I made mistakes. Irwin, a man who felt like the uncle I never had. I didn't notice the tension in the air at first. I didn't notice his glances toward the jungle, or the way he tightened his fists when I moved too close to certain bottles. But deep down, a small part of me, one I didn't always understand, felt that something was not quite right. When he finally said, "Go home, Ricky,"
Go home now,
there was more in his voice than instruction.
Don't come back at night.
There was care, caution,
Promise
a warning
me.
meant to protect me from dangers I didn't fully see. I obeyed, humming to myself, sensing just a faint echo of worry behind his eyes. That same night, I told my mother, Dorothy, what I had seen. Her face went pale. She whispered the stories I had only half believed. Tales of the Aswang, creatures that walked like men by day, but when the moon rose, became something else. I felt a surge of frustration. That can't be true, I said. Irwin wouldn't hurt anyone. He's kind, he's nice to me. I was confused, upset, and a little angry that she could think so poorly of someone I trusted. I couldn't understand how the man who had been patient with me, who had shown kindness and sensitivity, could be a monster. Unable to bear it, I ran into the night, heading straight to my grandparents' house, hoping to be consoled, hoping someone would make sense of my feelings and the stories. My feet pounded the earth, heart racing, ears straining for every whisper of wind and sound from the jungle. At my grandparents' house, Matilda and Joseph, once the heart of the village and known for their strength as faith healers, welcomed me in. Their home smelled of smoke and drying herbs. Even in their age, I could sense the power and wisdom they carried, the same power that had kept the village safe for decades. But Joseph had been sick for some time. The cough rattled through his chest, and he had grown weak, unable to walk far or lift heavy herbs as he once did. He sat in his chair by the fire, breathing slowly, his hands trembling just enough to make the beads of his rosary slip between his fingers. And then he said it, quietly, almost to himself, but loud enough for me to hear. "The Aswang, it will come for me tonight." His voice carried the weight of fear and acceptance, and I felt it settle in my chest like a stone. I did not know then that night would arrive so quickly. The moon rose blood-red above the jungle. Toddy Irwin changed. Bones cracked and bent, wings tore free from his back, his mouth split wider than any man's should. The man who had been kind, who had felt like the uncle I never had, was gone. What stood in his place was a nightmare made flesh. Somewhere in the night, a sharp, high-pitched screech split the air. It sounded far away at first, echoing across the fields, chilling me to my bones. But as the creature drew closer, the sound faded strangely, as if it could only shriek when distant. A trick of the Aswang, I remembered from the stories. Its wings began to beat, stirring dust and shadows as it moved toward the house, relentless and terrifying. He came for us. The walls shook, the bottles shattered. His wings flapped violently, scraping the rafters, stirring dust and shadows. The screech that had seemed so distant now came from nearby, faint and distorted, making the air tremble with dread. My grandmother, Matilda, met him first, holding the stingray tail, rough and curved, sprinkled with salt along its edges. She struck again and again, each hit sizzling where salt touched flesh. But then, one swipe, one terrible strike, hit Matilda in the head. She fell unconscious, the sting of pain taking her from the world for a moment. I froze, my heart hammering, as the monster turned its attention toward Joseph and me. Joseph, though coughing and weak, held tightly to his rosary and the amulet of the Sacred Heart of Jesus and the Most Holy Virgin Mary. He whispered prayers, beads slipping through his trembling fingers, voice rising with courage beyond his frail body. Step by step, the Aswang recoiled against the power of the prayers. The air shimmered around Joseph, the amulet glowing faintly in the candlelight. The creature struggled, wings flapping violently, screech fading oddly, weaker than before as though the prayers bound it. Then Matilda stirred. She blinked, dizzy and aching, but alive. Quietly, she snuck closer to the Aswang, her hands working quickly to set the steel wire trap across the creature's path. Her movements were careful and precise. She didn't make a sound. As the monster strained against Joseph's prayers, the wire finally caught it, holding it fast. At last, the creature was trapped. Its wings ceased, its screech faded, and silence settled over the house like a blanket. One final crack split the night, and the monster's head fell. What remained was only Erwin, lying still, no longer a man, no longer a beast. Silence followed, broken only by the rasp of prayer. My grandparents, Matilda and Joseph, wept not in triumph, but in sorrow, for the man Erwin had once been, for the curse he could not escape. I wept too. I was only a boy, yet I had seen the truth. As I lost Erwin as a friend, I lost my innocence as well. Monsters are not only in stories. They are here, hidden among us, waiting for night to rise. And though Erwin was gone, my mom and grandparents warned me, darkness never disappears forever. It only waits. And when it comes again, we must be ready.